we had some pretty damn good players back in the early 2000s, and all of those players that were dominating, they were all international. If you look back at the records, so I think that says a lot about college tennis being such an international sport, and if you want to be successful at the highest level, you have to bring internationals into the program.
Some say that soccer is the world's game, and they're probably right, but tennis has to be a close second. The Roadrunners have had their fair share of international student athletes on their tennis teams. From the MSU Denver Hall of Famer Beck Mears from Australia to current senior Alejandro Martinez-Morilla from Spain, this program has seen many students from around the globe come to downtown Denver.
As far as I'm aware, we've had players from Denmark, Belgium, Spain, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, all over the place. You look back in the roster lists of the last 20 years of the program, my bet would say that over half of them have been international that have come into the tennis program here.
But how do these international students find themselves in the Mile High City? While everyone's story is different, the reasoning they come to the States is the same.
The US is the only place in the world that does college sports. There's no organized sports around the world outside of the US. The other reason is, internationals, they want to see a different part of the world, and they can get a scholarship to do that. They can, get their tuition paid for and whatnot, and they get, a quality degree from here in the US, and they, are part of a family here.
Australian Josh Greats, who is a former Roadrunner player and now Roadrunners coach, wanted to continue his playing career and reached out to just about anyone who had an email address.
So in 2012, I started the recruiting process, applied to nearly every school you could name, and probably got, out of probably 100 applications, I probably got 15 responses out of the 100. For me, I wanted to come to the US and experience something different than what I already had back home. I knew I was never going to be a professional tennis player, but I knew I could be a pretty solid college tennis player.
MSU Denver Athletics has a well-known history of Australians in the men's basketball program, and that helped Josh's transition to the university.
We had 3 or 4 Australians on the basketball team as well, very successful back in that time period as well. So I thought there was a really good Australian connection here at MSU Denver, and I got to meet Beck Mears in person back in Australia over Christmas, and from there, it was a no-brainer.
While Josh took matters into his own hands, a lot of international students use an agency to help them reach out to those on the other side of the pond.
So they helped me set up a video, posted it on good old YouTube, and next thing you know, I was getting some emails and follow-ups by coaches all across America, like literally Oklahoma, Texas, California, places I've never heard of.
Once the international student finally makes it to their respective school, the biggest obstacle is perhaps the language barrier. For those who don't use English as their first language, they may be in for a tough transition period, but most seem up to it.
So I thought this is the thing with a lot of Spaniards. We think we know a lot of English, but then when you come here and you are in a living room and there is 5 people having a conversation and you got absolutely no idea what's going on, then you realize I might have to improve my English. So I was kind of like that, in the beginning it was super tough. If now I have a strong accent, in the beginning it was even stronger, and it was hard for me, but luckily in my team by that time there were all English speakers. There were not any Spaniards, because if not I would have probably just tried to speak Spanish to that guy and then that guy translate.
Whether you're an American student or an international student, homesickness falls on all of them. So for Alejandro, who hasn't seen his family in over a year, it's important for the culture of the team to have a family feel to it.
We try to make a lot of team activities. Now obviously with COVID we cannot do that many, but for example next Sunday we're going on a hike, so those kind of things build a relationship that really help when you're struggling here, when you get homesick, that you have these guys that really are your family, are my family here now.
Progressively during my time there, you make a life for yourself. You make a lifestyle, you meet people, you have commitments, and to the point where my junior, senior year, I didn't mind not going home. I had, a job lined up. I got to dog sit this beautiful fur baby who I miss dearly. But, you just make a life for yourself. So I think progressively it gets easier and easier.
Tabitha Porter made the leap to come to the States in 2016. She hailed from New Zealand and had offers from all over the country, including a few from Division I schools. But the allure of MSU Denver brought her to the Auraria campus.
And I said, well, what do I want to get out of it? Because it's 4 years. And we said, okay, I want to be in a place that is like outdoorsy and very adventurous, and there's always lots of things to do. But then I also want to be close to the hustle and bustle, so like a city. I was having a peruse online and Metro came up, and I was like, oh, this looks cool. And the Tivoli building popped up, and I was like, it looks like Hogwarts in a way.
Tabitha would end up having one of the best all-time careers at MSU Denver, having won RMAC Player of the Year twice, and leaving with the most singles wins in program history. Her international experience in the U.S. was one she will never forget.
I had the time of my life, and I look back on that whole experience of just under 4 years because COVID, and I would do it all over again. The biggest thing you can take away from that is the friendships you get as well, and the bonds you make. So I'm hoping one day I can have like Mackenzie and Keegan and Helena, Alejandro, all of them come out to New Zealand and share this experience with me, because I got to share my experience in the States with them.
International students only continue to rise and make up a huge portion of rosters in collegiate tennis, and it doesn't look like it'll be changing anytime soon.
Bringing those kids in from other countries, they all come from different cultures, different backgrounds, but they all come here with one common interest in tennis, and if you can build them into a family atmosphere, then you can make some special things happen.